Hi, this is Roger and welcome to this month's update. It is January 2008. So this is not just a monthly update, it's also an annual update as well. And as you might know, in China, 2008, 8 is the symbol of wealth. So it's a very special year. It's also in China the year of the rat. And the next time the year of the rat comes along, in 12 years' time, it will be 2020. Which is very special for Excel because the Excel 2020 vision is what we're focused at. So we have a lot planned for this year. However, given that we have a lot planned, rather than doing what I normally do in an update, which is explaining a little bit about what's happening within Excel or our life members or one of the companies, I'm going to focus 100% this update on you. Because we have a whole year ahead of ourselves. So what are we going to achieve and how are we going to achieve it? You might be wondering, where am I? Right now, I'm in Antwerp. This is in Belgium. I have just come from Amsterdam. I'm about to go on to Brussels, and having this little opportunity to talk here is perfect because I was just coming in from the train station. We saw the Olympic Stadium in 1920. They had the Olympics here in Antwerp, and then from there the city has grown. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with those 5 points, or let's talk about those 5 openings. 5 zeros, as you know, 2006, 2007, 2008, this idea of the double infinity, this idea that if you take nothing and nothing, it makes everything, because 0 and 0, you put them together, you get me an infinity sign, or the symbol 8. That what I'm going to do is I'm going to just share 5 openings, 5 zeros, that between them can give us some frame as to what you might want to focus at and achieve this year. The first one, the first zero, the first O, I will call the opening. So what do you intend to open this year? What do you intend to open as a new opportunity to expand? I'm about to go to Brussels on a flight out back to London. And as you know, Brussels is the center of the European Union. The European Union hasn't been around for that long. And it became, just as a result of that opening in Brussels, it became in itself an economic powerhouse, and in fact the second largest powerhouse in the world after America. Well, you might know that in fact, this year, Asia Pacific overtook the European Union in economic output. And so there is this big shift that's going on. We were just talking here in Belgium about what's happening with Tata at the moment. We're talking about Alibaba. We're talking about brand name from India and China that it was only a year ago people never had even heard of. So there is a huge shift that's currently going on, and it's an opening that's opening up from Asia Pacific that we're all part of. And our ability to be able to step into that and say, what's that new opportunity? What's that new possibility? That would be the first thing, the first O, that I would ask you to think about and to write down and to plan for the year. The second one is to own. To own. Just coming from the Netherlands, I told the story about how in 1604, the first public listed company was formed. It was the Dutch East India Company. And that was because, as entrepreneurs, no one had the resources to be able to travel around the world and to be able to actually take real advantage of the global flow that was taking place at that time. So a group of entrepreneurs and traders got together, they set up the Dutch East India Company, and that became the most powerful company in the world, together with the British East India Company. I live in Bali now, as you know, and in Bali, the entire Indonesian region was part of the Dutch East Indies. I lived just outside of Gianyar, which was the capital for the Dutch traders who used to come into Bali. And now we have it happening the other way around, where again it's what's happening in Asia coming out to Europe, which is making all the news, where we have now the richest man in England is actually from India. So the second thing on ownership, by taking ownership within the East India Company, every single one of those entrepreneurs could tap into resources they couldn't do otherwise. What do you choose to take ownership in this year? In your life, in the enterprises you're running, in the people around. How can we shift that to a whole different level? And from own we go to the third O, which is O. O-W-E, O. We're talking about owing from the point of view of service. Instead of deserving, we serve. And if you were to look at what it is that you want to see yourself owing this year, who do you owe? How do you owe? What do you want to give to? Show up, step up, give back. What are the areas in which you want to give? I'm about to go with the Pioneer Club and some amazing people to India. And again, it's the interplay of the East and the West. It's about what can we give in the most effective way, which is going to support not just those we're giving to, but also ourselves and we want to achieve. You can see in the background we have got the Cathedral of Antwerp. And it's so interesting that right here in the historic center of Europe, we have the most incredible history. Well, the history also goes through in the next two O's. The fourth O is OR, and I mean OR, as opposed to AND. A lot of people say there's a lot of power in AND as opposed to OR, because if you can do this and this, you can achieve that and that. Why not have both? Well, I'd like to suggest that maybe this year is the opposite. Instead of trying to include everything, why not just start to exclude and come down to one or two things? Instead of spending time doing this and this, why not just this or that? Instead of that or that, what if we were to start looking at excluding and coming down to the focus? That's the basis of wealth dynamics. So what is it that you would like to do if you had a choice, doing this or this? Which one would serve you better? And by the way, that OR, as you know, as a rower in the past, the idea of the OR, just like in Wink and Grow Rich, that idea that actually sometimes we're in the water and sometimes we're out. Where do you want to visit this year? Someplace different, someplace which is going to stretch yourself in ways you haven't thought of stretching yourself. Because here we are in 2008, where we have an opportunity, given that we're a good 8 years now into the new millennium, to go out there and make a serious difference. And that's what brings us to the fifth O. And the fifth O is Olympic. 080808. This year, 8th of August 2008, the Olympics start. And they start in China. And again, we have a shift in power from what's been happening here in Europe for the last 150 years to what's now happening out in Asia. So in Beijing, when the Olympics start, we're going to see us all playing different games in different ways and choosing whether we want to play it at the Olympic level. An Olympic, which comes from the Olympians from Greece, is about being extraordinary. It's about being far larger than life. So what do you choose to be far larger than life? O, 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 O. Carl Jung. Carl Jung, who's the first to ever publish the I Ching in the West. He was the one that came up with the Olympic symbol, which is 5 O's. They represent the 5 frequencies. They represent the 5 elements. They represent the 5 vowels within our vocabulary. A, E, I, O, U. They're all openings. They're promises. They're ways forward where we can start to look at this coming year and choose to what extent we want to live that Olympic spirit ourselves and to step up into something greater. Step up into something higher. Step up into something swifter. Fortius, Altius, Citius. Stronger, higher, swifter. 2008. I wish you a magical Olympian year ahead.